just in camera, don't get sick, okay? Don't do it. I'm very sorry if you do get, oh God. I understand now if you get sick. Woo, there you go. I'm sorry. All right, so now I'm going to do what's called fusing. So I'm not going to use solder. When I fuse a ring, I'm bringing the gold that's existing on the ring here to the same temperature as the new gold that I'm putting in, and then right here on the seam, it should fuse together, which creates a stronger bond. Again, I use less materials, and number two, I create less pits. And if I ever have to do any work to this in the future, it will be strong. So we don't use flux. Now it's got to turn red. Okay, so let's see. You're gonna have to tell me if you see it when it actually happens. Okay. I'm just going to make sure that the inside fused. Oh, it's smoking. Do you guys see the smoke? I don't know if you can on camera. There we go. Now it's nice and fused together. Now what happens is it kind of balls up. And so what happens with that is then that gives me a little bit to be able to tap it up to the right size. And again, then we got minimal waste. I'm not thinning out the shank or anything like that. So that should be good. You use the same tin snips for bullion now? Alright, so now we're going to switch cameras. Boop. Now we've got our ring that we just soldered together. But as you can see, it looks pretty messy down there on the bottom. The top looks great, nice and even and centered. But we got to cut these lines back into here. So come on down here to my bench pin. How do I know when you're in focus? It's hard to tell. Whoa! I mean, that looks like it's in focus, right? Or not. So there's like a manual focus camera here. Okay, so now what we're going to do... Oh, thanks, Marty! Does gold have a scent? No, it does not. Nope. Not that I've noticed, at least. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use basically a hacksaw. And we're just going to come in here. I always cut on the inside instead of the outside because a lot of the times this will slip off. And when it slips, I tend to be going like this. And then it just goes whoop, right in my thumb. It's not a fun feeling. So I always do it on the inside so when it slips, it goes that way. Or it slips this way, and then I realize what's going on, and I tend to stop before it cuts through my callus. Now, some people like to use cutoff discs like this. This is a cutoff disc. Basically, it goes really high speed, and it cuts through things. Some people like to use that to put the line in the ring. I don't, because I feel like I don't have as much control over it, so I can't make it as good. And if it slips, it cuts really fast. And that's just not a mistake that I want to have to go back and fix. So I say, hey, I'll take the little extra time to save myself some money. Yeah, because if I mess up and have to go back and fix it, that's just, yeah, not fun. Gotta find that focus sweet spot. Pure low fumes, more copper, more fumes. Okay. Yeah, I've never noticed, but also I tend to hold my breath whenever I'm putting flame to a ring, just because normally it smells like people burning. Okay, so then what I do after I cut those lines, as you can see, they're nice lines now. I just take a really, this is one of my favorite files, but it's really dull, which is what I like, because then I'm not taking off a ton of metal. So then I just run my essentially dull file over where I just cut on both sides here, and then I flip it over and file the other side. And all this is doing is just making it a little more defined. So then I'll take a sandpaper roll, and then we'll just go over the outside here and just clean it up. Okay, this is really dull. I'm getting good at these and going faster. Stream definitely slows me down. Like I can cruise through a ton of repairs. I can probably cruise through in an 8-hour shift. When I just put in my audiobook and go, I can probably cruise through about 30 repairs in an 8-hour shift. I guess depending on, like, if they're just like sizings, chains, head and sets, stuff like that, I can cruise through those. That does not count polishing, obviously, polish and rhodium. That's a completely different thing. I gotta make sure I do the inside. It's so awesome thinking about where you started years ago, trying to find someone who would let you apprentice to where you are now. I know, right? Yeah, no one wanted to let me be an apprentice. And now look at me. So now what I like to use is a silicone wheel because I have a high volume of repairs that come in and out of my shop. I like to make it as easy as possible for polishing, whether I'm polishing or one of my apprentices. So what the rubber wheel does is basically just a silicone wheel that has grit in it, I guess you would say, or call it. I don't know. And what that does is it just gets out any scratches or file marks. So then when you go to polish it, it polishes up super quickly. And also, in my shop, we polish the inside of the rings at the bench. There is a thing at the polish wheel. Oh my god, we lost diamonds. You see that? You see that, guys? We lost some diamonds. We're going to have to set those. Where did those go? I didn't even size this. Oh my gosh. But there is a thing that kind of looks like a finger. And so you can polish the inside of rings with the finger. Basically fingering the ring. PG-13, guys. PG-13. Is the bluestone going into it? No, it's not. The bluestone is just from when I was faceting on Friday. I gotta find these diamonds. There's one. And I just don't have anything else to put there. Yeah, they're probably already loose. You'd be surprised at how many... There's one. Oh, where'd it go? Never mind, it's just metal. You'd be surprised at how many stones fall out of rings. That's why we have my sparkle box right here. The sparkle box, where all the diamonds go when they fall out of rings, so I can reuse them. You think there's one in the bench? Yeah, there's a ton stuck in the middle here. Okay, here. I'll just look a little bit more, and then we'll just find one out of my stash here. So the diamonds actually do show up when I clean up my scrap. I can pull them all out. All right. So when setting stones into something, there are what you call seats. Okay, so prongs have on either side. So you got your straight prongs, right? And what you do is you go in and you cut a seat, so it's kind of like this, so that there's like a little like cup on either side. So then when you set a stone in there, you put it in there like this. So the girdle, which is the part in between the top and the bottom of the stone, so the girdle sits into a seat perfectly. And then on the other side, it's typically on top of the prong. Like over here, it'll be on top of the prong. So then what you do is you take pliers and you just go, and you just pop it in. If it's a diamond or sapphire, you can typically do that. And some synthetic stones, but it's because the metal will expand and then snap back. Because gold likes to stay rigid, and so it'll snap back to where it was. Whereas if it's something like silver or platinum, those are considered dead metals, where they if you move it, it'll stay moved and won't snap back. Look at the very edge. I was looking at the very edge. Really need to get your ring checked out. You had it looked at a few years ago. You had to have a diamond replaced. They said you had a few loose. Yeah, man, get it checked out. Don't wait on those. So again, we're just going to check to make sure it's in the seat, which it is. And then we're going to go ahead and use our... I'm going to use these pliers because it's such a small stone. I call these the beetle pliers because they just look like it looks like a horned beetle, you know? So then we're going to come in here and we're just going to pop it in. Dang it, guys. I broke the diamond. Alright, let's find some diamonds. Broke the diamond. This is how you do it, guys. And then I break it. Classic. Diamonds actually, diamonds break very easily because they have what's called perfect cleavage. Yeah, use that as a pickup line in a bar. Hey, baby, you're like a diamond. Perfect cleavage. It works? Never. But it's got, so what that means is that the crystal structure grows so perfectly in line with itself that if something hits it right in between where the fracture points are, it'll literally just go and chip. Diamonds then breaking the diamonds while trying to put them in. Yeah. I am giving a real world. I know, right? I tell people who watch this that this is not like what you see on YouTube where someone melts down a bunch of gold and then you see them rolling it out on the rolling mill and then you see them with a tiny file, not a big file, a tiny file, filing it, perfectly and then bending it and making it. That's just not efficient, or it also is losing money for both the consumer and for the jeweler. Unless someone wants to pay for that, but a lot of the rings that are put together like that are held together with solder, which is weaker for the joints, where you could get something cast, custom-wise, made in CAD, or there's a lot of mountings, like if you go on my website, you can see them all, that are all made as one piece, which will last significantly longer. Not saying that that's not a good skill to have, because I've definitely had to rebuild rings that have fallen apart while I've been working on them. But this is literally the nitty-gritty of the jewelry world. And what those videos that you typically see on YouTube or advertisements are oversimplified and show you like a craftsman that's just like, okay, I'm gonna set this in the seats that I did not show cutting, or tightening thousands of stones. I don't know. I'm also, dude, I do not have the patience to make YouTube videos. As far as like editing goes and stuff, I gotta find the right size diamond here. I might not have it. That looks right. When you melted the gold like that, it exploded. Yeah, so when you melt used gold, it tends to have, like, especially really old gold, it gets what you call metal fatigue. And that's where like the alloys are starting to kind of break down from years of like chemicals and being compacted and just stuff like that. So that's where yeah, I think that's in. Almost. That's where then if that gets into whoo, I thought I broke it again. That's where it gets into. Now I'm just going to tighten it in there, guys. I'm just going to make sure it's nice and tight. I'm going to use my graver. This is called a graver. All I'm doing is just pulling down a little bit of... Actually, no, I'm going to move... I can get my graver in between the prong. I don't know if you can see it. It's too shiny. In between the prong and the ring, and I'm just going to kind of, like, walk it. I'm just kind of going like this to move the prongs over it. Thanks, Apache, for the lurk. Really appreciate it, dude. Yar, can we get a shout out for Apache Flameworks? Apache works with glass. He's a glass blower. He's really cool and a lot of fun to watch. I don't remember what I was saying, guys. I do not remember what I was saying. I'm very sorry. Ooh, oh yeah, the metal fatigue and stuff like that. So it just does not create a, and then you get bubbles in it, which cause pits, which cause a weaker material, and yeah. This one might be too big. I think that's too big. Yep. Was pure stuff that blew up on you. Oh! Oh my gosh. What's that coming up? YouTube has become a place for selling idealized dreams, not reality. I mean, oh, Marty, I don't know how you put together videos. I actually had someone in Florida who asked me if I would record my gem cutting stuff, right? And he wanted in 4K and all that. And basically, he wanted to make a video that he would get a lot of views on because it's cool. And I was fine with it. And I was like, yeah, you can get all the money you want from it. I just want my name out there, you know? And then, okay, these look about the right size. And then I recorded it, and then he's like, okay, so YouTube people are really picky, and I need you to redo the whole thing. And I'm like, that stone took me, with all that recording, like 10 hours. I'm not redoing this. I don't have time. And plus, like, my kid was about to be born, so I'm just like, sorry, man, I don't have time. Thank you for the support. Can I have all the footage I gave you if you make something? That'd be great. Oh, the shout-out's not working. Oh. Okay, so let me show you. Let me see if I can actually, like, kind of get this in here to show you what I mean by setting the diamond in the seat. Okay. Okay, we're going to switch cameras. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay, see that diamond? You see how it's in under one set of prongs on the, what would that be for your screen? Left side? And then it's sitting on top of the ones on the right side there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push down on the table so it snaps into place. The reason why you want to push down on the table is because it's a flat surface, and so more surface area, you're less likely to chip it. I almost just clicked end stream. Oh my gosh. Whereas if it's kind of like you're putting more pressure over a larger surface area as opposed to like where an actual facet is, which would then cause it to chip, which is what happened on the first stone I tried to set. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that in, just so that it doesn't fall out again. When I tighten it, I'm just pulling a little bit of metal down over it. Alright, one more. We need one more diamond. That one looks good. Oh, is your phone? That's weird. Oh, dropped it. Dang. Found it! So some people, I prefer to use tweezers just because I feel like I can maneuver this thing a bit more. And I don't like my diamonds having sticky stuff on them. But some people use what I like to call a booger. Yes, I call it a booger. But what it is actually just beeswax. Perfect. So it looks something like this. Obviously this is just full of gold and is dirty and stuff, but you just touch it and it picks up stones. You need an easier way to switch between cameras. I know. I need like a hotkey. I need to set up a hotkey. I know, it's terrible. Terrible. Okay, so now I'm going to polish the inside and then we're done with this ring. First job of the night. How far in are we? An hour and a half. Wow. Oh yeah, remember guys, we got a ring in the cleaner too, because I had a bunch of skin cheese in it. Pet is earwax. Alright, so we're just going to high polish the inside of the ring here. I'm also going to get in between the rings on the outside here, just because it's hard to get in between here on the wheel when either side is raised up. Hot. Hot, 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 hot. There we go. There we go. And now we'll put it in our thing here. Say that we soldered 3 rings together. Perfect. Now, let's, while we're on the bench pin here, let's finish sizing that other ring, and then I'll set it aside so I can order a crown for it, a new crown for the center stone. It was amazing. Today I got a phone call. I got a phone call from a jewelry store that I reached out to last month to see if they wanted, we're looking for a jeweler basically. And they called me today seeing if I could do an emergency rush for them for Friday. Okay, so you see where we fused it? You see how it's kind of bubbled out? That's perfect because that means we can tap it and get it up to the size we need so without thinning out this whole shank here, right? So first thing I'm going to do is I have a little block over here. I'm just going to flatten either side. And then I'm going to put it on the mandrel. Now we need a 7 3/4, which is not very far. So actually I'm just going to grind that a little bit out. And then we're going to round it out. Make sure it's nice and round, flip it over. See what size it is, perfect, 7 3/4. Let's clean up the inside a little more now that we're nice and round. And we're gonna file the rest of this up. Grind it out, Ryan, grind it hard. Thanks, thanks, Yar. I have to fix this, like, see this? I normally have like more of a nub here, but my part-time jeweler's been using my bench pin, and he kind of ground that nub off a little bit there, and it's really, really throwing me off because that's where I normally file. There we go. Let's see if that helps. Oh yeah. So now we just gotta make this nice and rounded so we don't have a big bump there anymore. Changing stream title to woodworking. So when I'm filing, and this is kind of like the part that most of my like apprentices always have a hard time with, is I'm turning the ring as my file is kind of like coming over. So it's almost like you're doing the chicken dance, like chicken wings, but like with your wrists. And that's what allows you to get a nice rounded shank. There we go. Very nice. See how it's not thinned out? It's the same width the whole way, or same thickness the whole way around. We didn't thin that out or anything. Looks pretty darn good. What's up, Cloud? Thanks for joining. So now, again, we're going to rubber wheel, and then I'm going to polish the inside of the ring. So let's go ahead and take our silicone wheel. Again, all this does is it gets out the... Oh, actually, I'm not going to polish the inside yet, because remember, we got to get a crown. This just takes off all those deep scratches and makes polishing significantly easier. Rather quicker. Well, I guess both. Quicker. If it's easier, it should be quicker, right? Alright, so now I'm going to set this aside so I can order a crown for this thing. Since I got so much time before it's due. Alright, now we have that other ring that we're going to half shank that is in the cleaner. So let me go steam that off real quick. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I love talking about what I do, and I love explaining what I do. And I'm ahead on work, so I can get distracted. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the bottom part of the shank. So here, so if you take a look at it, see how the bottom here is all thin? Like we could just fix both sides of this, but it's so thin it's just going to break again in the future. You guys sticking to repairs or thinking about, oh, I'm learning CAD. I am in the process of learning CAD as well. Designing, casting, gemstone. Basically, when we open our store, or rather storefront, brick and mortar store, whatever you want to call it, we intend it to be repair and custom work, basically. So repairing gemstones, repairing jewelry, and then doing custom jewelry and custom gemstones. I don't really want to have a retail side where I've got like cases of stuff. I don't really want to deal with that. So it'd be mainly by appointment for the custom stuff, and then people walk-in repairs, basically, is what our storefront's going to be. Which ideally we'll be able to actually open up a physical location within the next couple of years. We'll see how Christmas goes. I'm hoping Christmas this year will be a hit. It'll be great. And we can start putting a significant amount of money away. Okay. I know, right, Yar? 100%. I teach you both. I am a firm believer that people should know how to do. In a setting like that, people need to know how to do everything in case you need help somewhere, you know? So, like, if I had jewelers, I would have them know at least the basics of faceting, you know what I mean? And same thing with faceters, know the basics of, like, how to size a ring. In case I need to be like, can you just jump on the bench and size? Or at least know how to polish. Just because if you have one person, know how to do something, and something happens to them, whether they quit, have an accident, pass away, or anything like that, then your business is not, out that person, and nor is your team. All right. Plus, you're also giving them something to add to the resume. Okay, so again, when we half shank, we're basically cutting off half the ring. So we need to look at where it gets thick, and that's where we're going to cut it. So I'm just going to kind of, this thing's a little awkward here. I don't know. I think that's a big thing when it comes to like programming. I think a lot of people in the programming industry do that. Like they make sure that everyone kind of knows. Oh no! Don't get stuck in there. Don't get stuck in there. That's the crevice of the abyss. Oh man! All right. So now let me find a piece of gold that'll fit this. I have a gross jumping bug in my tray. Crevice of the abyss. Compensation increase is fair to increase with skills. Yes, 100% agreed. Alright, I need to grab my stock box. Hold on. See if there's something I can use without rolling it out. Because I'm not going to lie, I hate rolling gold out. I hate rolling anything out. I much prefer to just find the piece that will work. But I think I'm going to have to roll something out. Yeah, I got to roll this out, I think. Well, I mean, that's the right thickness. Because if I don't roll it out, look at all this waste we're going to have. See all that waste? See how much bigger that is, width-wise? So, what I got to do is roll this into kind of a square. Alright, let me do that real quick, guys. One moment. Here, we'll just stick this in the abyss. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called annealing. When we anneal something, we get the... We gotta heat the metal up so that it glows red, almost to its melting point, because the way that gold works is kind of like tectonic plates. When you stretch gold, so gold's like sitting like this, all nice and snug, right? When you stretch it, it starts to pull apart like this. And then the parts in between start to get a lot of tension, start to get thinner. So when you heat it up, it all flows again, and then as it cools, it all just settles back down like this. And then you can keep going with it. That's how they can get gold so thin, is because they anneal it. Oh, dude, I am a huge City fan, but I don't know, I like the convenience of the city. I also enjoy people watching a lot. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and anneal this. So again, we're just going to get it just glowing. Without actually letting it melt. And then we'll let it cool down on its own. Do I know gold's melting point? Not off the top of my head, no. When it turns red. When it turns red, it melts. Do I know the metailing? Yeah, I have no idea gold's melting point at all. Alright, I'm gonna go. What's up, Patters? Thanks for joining. I think it's about 1,500 freedom units for standard 14K. There we go. Thanks, Patters. Thanks for that nugget. Hold on, I gotta check. Oh, there we go, guys. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's actually perfect. Nice! Alright. You need some electro swing? I know, right? I'm with you on that. Alright, so now what we're going to do over here, guys... Fahrenheit was invited in Germany? Invited by who? Patters. Oh my gosh. Clever. We got a clever one over here. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is, again, I'm going to put this in the boric acid and alcohol. Whoa! What's up, Vanishing Pearl? And Raiders, how's everyone doing? Thanks for joining, guys. What were you streaming tonight, Vanishing Pearl? Welcome, guys. Tonight we are, wow, thank you so much, Blueswood 1996. Welcome to the Rough Crowd. Thanks for joining. Tonight we are working on repairing jewelry. You are about to witness our first half shank of the night, which means we basically cut the ring in half and we put a whole new thing of gold right here on it. Now again, we're going to fuse it on there instead of using solder because it's a better bond. Working on some seed beaded pride butterfly earrings. What do you mean seed? What is seed beaded? That's awesome, dude. Alright, so here we go. So again, we got to get this gold here, this stick of gold, to the same melting point as the ring. So you'll see it kind of fuse together here, okay? You ready? Boom, just like that. Tiny little beads like Native Americans use, right? Oh, okay, that makes sense. Tiny beads. Makes that, I don't know why I didn't even think of that, but yeah, that makes sense. What's up, boring girl? Thanks for joining. You stitch with beads around 2 millimeters. Wow. So a 2 millimeter diamond is about 0.03 of a carat. To put it in jewelry terms. I know, long time no see. How are you doing? Okay, so now that we got the gold on there, right? So we just fused the gold on there. Hold on, I think I'm on the wrong camera. I want to show you on this camera. Oh, yeah, I definitely need a, what do you call it? I need a, hotkey to be able to switch. So here's our gold, all fused on and everything, looking good. If I can get it into focus. Get me a stream deck, yes. It's cold and wet where you am. Oh man, it's getting hot here. Yeah. It's been actually really rainy here. Okay, so the way I do this, right? So we got to figure out what size did we need this to be. We need this to go to an 8.5. Okay, so here's how I do this, right? So we put it on our mandrel, like so. So we get to our 8.5 mark right there, right? But I'm actually going to do it at an 8 so I can tap it up a little bit because there's a lot of gold here. And then all I do is I take it and I wrap it around the mandrel. So I wrap it around like that. So it's already nice and round. And then what I do is I just take a pair of side cutters here, like this, And I just kind of mark where it ends on the ring over here. Just like that. So then what I'll do is I'll cut that mark with my turtle beaks. And then we're going to fuse that side. In Knipex we trust. Is that what those are called, Patters? Are those called Knipex? It's by Xuron Core. I just call them turtle beaks because these cutters literally just look like a turtle. Like, hey guys, how's it going? I'm doing great. You know, just living the dream. Cutting stuff because that's what I do. I need to get a googly eye for this guy. I need to put a googly eye on there. Oh my gosh. So I'm just going to make both sides flat because it makes it easier for me to get it nice and tension on it. Because, so when you fuse things together, or weld them together in jewelry terms, you need them to have a little tension. And by tension, I mean pushing against each other. Because if you don't, then the gold isn't going to want to go in on itself and fuse together. If you got it pulling away from each other, then, well, it'll pull away. There'll be a gap. No one likes a gap. fix the separation in chain and solder together. The separation in chain. Let's check it out. So let's go ahead and set this over here while we wait. Switch cameras. Ooh, this is a pretty beat up chain. Separation in chain. What are they? Oh, that's the center of the chain, and it's broken. It's just a broken chain. That's all it is. The separation in chain. I'm used to it saying like, please fix chain break. Okay, so we got to figure out. Okay, I got this. First things first, we got to clean it. Whenever you work on a chain, especially a chain, because people typically don't take chains off. So it gets their skin and their oils and their perfume or cologne or anything else, dandruff, all that good stuff. Just collects in all the links here. So you got to make sure you clean it. Otherwise, when you go to heat it up, it is going to smoke, and your solder does not like to flow on dirty things. Stella, thanks for the lurk. You want to go out in the garage just to forge a steel ring with whatever small glass or rock bead. But it's 4 a.m. Do it, Bad Direction. That's the joy of having a workshop at your home. So let me put this in my ultrasonic real quick and steam it off. All right, we got all the skin cheese off. All that skin cheese. Very good, very good. All right, so now we're going to attach the links. And this is gold, so it should solder pretty easily here. Again, I'm just going to dip it in the boric acid here. Oop. Then we'll go ahead and light it on fire. Your garage is closer to the newly built house than where you're sitting in your house, and we have in-laws there saying no noise after 11. Oh, you have laws there saying no noise. Oh. Then you don't live far enough away from people. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and let me just make sure that this is the right link that I just did. Yes, yes it is. Okay. So we're just going to put some solder right there. So we're going to put a little bit of flux. So what flux does is it helps solder flow and helps keep the area nice and clean. And we're going to use easy solder on this just because I don't want to melt the chain. Chains you tend to use only easy solder on. Or rather, I guess I do. Just because they're so delicate that they will melt before the solder does. Now, the other thing too with chains is less solder, the better. A little solder goes a long way. If you use a lot of solder, you tend to create a weaker spot than if you only used a little bit of solder. You should call it human. Oh my god. So we're going to put the solder right here. There we go. What's up, Smoky Frog? It better be hollow. It's fine. It's fine. But it didn't flow all the way through, and that's probably because the hot plate here was soaking up the heat, so it didn't flow all the way to the other side. And solder likes to go where heat is, so we're gonna go ahead and heat up this side just to pull it all the way through where that crack is. There we go. Perfect. What work surface do I use? What do you mean patterns? Like this thing? This is just like a ceramic hot plate is really what it is. Have a good one, Suki. Thanks for hanging out, man. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Stay in there forever. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in my pickle. Now, while we're doing that, we're going to pull out our half shank. So with this ring, what we did was we cut half the ring off, and we put a whole new piece of gold on there. So obviously it's not looking very round, and we got to get it to an 8.5. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my mandrel. Right now we're kind of at a 7.5, so we got to tap it up a little bit. But that's okay because we got a lot of metal here that we can tap, especially these parts where we fused it, because there's a little bit of bulging on those parts. So I'm going to go ahead and just tap it up. And you always got to flip it over to make sure the other side is rounded too, because a lot of the time, because it's a cone, so it'll make one side bigger than the other. Was wondering what refractory plate some people get. All very well. It has to be X brand or whatever. Nice to hear different people's choices. Yeah, this is just a ceramic plate. I mean, when I first started, before I got one of these, literally just used a tile. What's my favorite ice cream flavor? I would have to say peppermint bonbon or like mint chocolate chip. I really like mint. I love mint, actually. Love it. So here, actually, I've got it right over here. Let me show you. Oh, there's a spider. Okay. Okay, it's gone. Woo, it's gone. This is literally all I was using, was just a tile. Just an old tile. That's it. Just ceramic. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, man. But yeah, some people use like the honeycomb looking one. Other people use some other ones too that have like little heat sinks underneath it and stuff like that. Spiders are always on tiles. You use a graphite block often, and you need to pour a refractory cement sheet for it. Interesting. Yes, some people are very particular. Alright, so now we got to clean this up. So why don't you guys hop on over here to my bench pin. Let me just get this into focus. Maybe we can like... Oh, God. Sorry. Sorry. There we go. Look at that. Nice and focused, right? So before we do that, I do need to file the sides. So when you file the sides, you just go at it like this. But I have a little spot over here. Sorry, camera doesn't see it. And what this does is it makes the side of the ring all even. Otherwise, you'll have like a roller coaster of a ring. No one likes, I mean, I guess some people are into that, you know, the roller coaster fans. But most people are not. So after we're done, you'll see. Oh my God! If my camera will actually pick it up. Let me just make it a little darker. Nope. Too shiny. It's way too shiny. Sorry. Alright, so now you can see here, you can see all those hammer marks. You see where I hammered it up and everything? So now we gotta smooth all those out and make the ring nice and round. Alright, so now, I don't know if you can see it. This camera's so shiny. Okay, well I guess you can kind of see it right here. You see how it's thicker down here than it is up here? And that's because this is now squared off, whereas this is kind of more rounded. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of round out that shank and make it look nice. And the way that I round out the shanks is I kind of go on the edge of it, and as I go, I turn like this as I go over the top of the ring. And that gives it a nice kind of domed look. Now, as you can see, it looks pretty even. You don't have that big square jutting out anymore. I'm so fast at this! Well, I've been doing it for a little while, and actually this is me being slow. Because I'm explaining and showing and adjusting cameras and all that. When you really get in the groove, though, I bet you're really fast at your beating. You know, like when you're really in the groove. So now what I'm doing, guys, is I'm just, ow, hot. I'm just cleaning up, ow, still hot. I'm cleaning up the inside, making it all even inside the ring. Hot, 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 hot. Wonder how a concave violin file would work for that. Oh, are you talking like, I bet you that would work. Filing takes you so long. It's just a matter of like, I don't know. It's like with anything where it's like, okay, this feels right. You know what I'm saying? And then we always double check the size. Good old 8.5. 8.5, make sure it's nice and round. Nice and round. And then we do one final thing. So we use the round part of our file, and very lightly, we put it at a pretty extreme angle, and we just, because there's a real sharp edge, right? There's a real sharp edge all along the side here, because we filed it flat here, and we filed it flat on the inside. So now we're just going to basically we let the weight of the file do the work for us. And we just lightly run that over there just to burnish that edge down a little bit. Self-harm? There's no self-harm. They use them for rounding over frets for guitars and violins and such. Yeah, that might be kind of cool. Oh, touching hot metal. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rubber wheel this. Because again, what that does is it, ooh, it looks a little funny right there, but that's real. It's a real thin spot. I don't really want to take that down anymore. There we go. Again, rubber wheeling it takes out those deep scratches. I like to do this just because, again, it makes polishing go a bit quicker when I'm actually on the polishing wheel. And the inside. Yeah, that was just me calibrating my nerves. Okay, so we're just half shanking this. All right. Cool. There we go. Still trying to get the hang of this camera, but it'll work out. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to polish the inside, because I feel like when you polish the inside of a ring at the bench, you can get a much higher polish or higher shine than if you actually do it at the polishing wheel. There we go, nice and shiny. Ooh. And that's a half shank, guys. Yeah. All right, have a good one, Vanishing Pearl. Thank you so much for hanging out and for the raid. Really appreciate it. If you guys haven't checked out Vanishing Pearl, they do beadwork. Go check them out. They use like micro beads. So that is pretty darn cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put on here the work I did. And then that chain, we got to clean up this chain here. Oh, great. I lost where I repaired it. I mean, that's a good sign. If you can't find where you repaired something, then you did a pretty good job. I don't feel it, or, oh, is this it? Nope. Well, anytime you fix a chain, the other thing you got to do is a stress test, all right? Always keep a Sharpie around. I do have a Sharpie, I guess. I didn't think of that. But you always do the stress test where you pull it. Now, because we don't know where it's at, I'm just going to pull the whole thing. If another one breaks, and we'll fix it. There we go. Nothing broke, which means it shouldn't break for the guest. Or customer, whatever you want to call them. I've worked at places where they're like, okay, we got to call them customers because people prefer to be called a customer instead of a guest. And then I've worked at places where they're like, no, we got to call people guests because then it makes it feel more personal. You know what I mean? Do you guys have a preference? I really don't have a preference because I feel like anyone that goes shopping somewhere just wants to like have a decent experience, and they know that they are literally the consumer. You know what I mean? So like, I don't care what you call me. Just, you know, make me feel like I belong here. Back sorta, you know that kitten you found in 2020 who's got himself lost. You've been out walking trying to find. Oh no, I'm sorry, Jan. Just don't call me Shirley. Alright, let's move on to the next repair. Next repair. Oh, okay, so this one we're sizing up. However, these look like aquamarines. Let's see if we can get you zoomed in. Ooh. Dude, my lights hate, or rather this camera hates the shiny things. There we go. So these aquas are actually really dirty. So aquamarine actually cannot take heat. Is this silver or gold? Please be gold. Oh, good. So the reason why I want it to be gold instead of silver, I'm actually going to toss this in the cleaner. We're sizing up to an 8 from a size 5. Okay. So the reason why I'm happy that it's gold instead of silver is because silver, so when you need solder to flow with for silver, you have the whole piece has to heat up before the solder will flow. Whereas with gold is more centralized, so it'll melt only in that spot and slowly heat up around the outside there. So yeah, oh. Okay, this looks like it had to get cut off this person's finger. Alright, what do you want me to do with this? Let's see, please size ring to 7 and fix the broken shank and add sizing beads and solder back together. Alright. That's easy enough. Easy peasy. Conductivity can be a real pain at times. That's the word I'm looking for. Hold on, guys. I gotta blow my nose. Gotta blow my nose. Alright. I am gonna clean this one too, but I want to show you the skin cheese, okay? So, if you ever find that your jewelry has some skin cheese in it, here's an easy solution. You can get some dish soap, like Dawn or whatever, and some hot water and an old toothbrush. And you take that toothbrush and you just poke those bristles in between all the crevices. And then you can get all that skin cheese out of there. Now, this person obviously could not get their ring off their finger to clean it. But there it is. This is what most jewelry looks like before I clean it. Now, if I were to put heat to this, it would smoke, and who knows what it would smell like. But that's probably a combination of skin and lotion and a bunch of other stuff too. So yes, if you ever find yourself, especially earrings get a lot of it. With that, just get a toothbrush and hot soap and water and go at it. Or one thing that, toothpaste would work. Or something that Sandy likes to do. She likes to put her rings into a bowl of after she cleans it with the soap and stuff. She'll put it in overnight in like a bowl of white wine vinegar, or just white vinegar. I don't know if it matters, but just in vinegar in general. Suganaki. You've heard of people cleaning their rings with toothpaste. But would the hydrogen peroxide in the whitening toothpaste affect the finish of the metal or stones? If they're diamonds, you're safe. If they're diamonds or sapphires, you should be safe. If it's any other thing, I would just use, I'd use the hot water and toothbrush, honestly, and not risk it, just in case. Alright, the aquamarine, let's get it. Alright, so we are sizing this up to an 8 from a 5, right? Let's double check that size. Oh. So, alright. And the shank looks nice and thick. Like it's not too thin or anything like that, so we're good there. If you make a tool of it, you can sure tell touching a hot object quickly versus steel. Yes, 100%. Alright, so again, we're going to see if it was sized, which I'm guessing it was. Yep, I can see the sizing seam right there. I wonder if I could show you on camera the sizing seam. So solder, especially when like rhodium wears off, the solder is always a slightly different color. So let's see if I can show it to you. I wonder if it shows it on the outside. I didn't even look. No, it doesn't show it out there. Come on. There it is. You see that slight discoloration line right there? I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but that slight discoloration right there, we go. There's a good shot of it. That is where the ring was sized before. So we are going to cut right on that line because we don't want to make a bunch of different weak points in the ring. Basically, if I don't cut on that line, I cut somewhere else. Now we got a chunk of metal right here and right here and right here. So basically, we like section the ring off into 3 sections. And if we ever have to heat up the ring or something like that in the future, then it will it'll just fall apart, right? So we're going to cut it right on that solder line. That I can't see with the naked eye. Oh my gosh. Sharpie. I need like... Hold on. Alright, tossing on the visors here. Alright, there we go. Woo, that was a tough one. Whoever sized this ring last did a really good job. Oh, except for this ring will not have any weak points because we are basically going to grind out that solder. We're going to grind out that solder and then we're going to fuse in the metal. So then all the solder will essentially be gone from the ring. And we won't have to worry about solder, nor will the customer. There, so we just ground out all the solder. Now, we got to size this up like 3 sizes, right? Because we're going to an 8. Yeah. So let me make sure I've got metal for this. That's a little too big. See if I got anything in here. Again, I'm just trying to find it like that perfect piece. You know what I'm saying? That perfect piece. No more solder. I mean, I will be using solder. It's just I prefer to fuse when possible, just because it creates a better bond. This one, nope, they're the same thing. All right, here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this out a little bit. I'm actually going to cut this back a little bit more just because it'll make the ring look so much better. The guest isn't paying for it, but it's just a little bit more. So we'll go ahead and cut that a little bit off, and then we'll make it way better. Now again, we're going to put our tweezers on the stone so that it acts as a heat sink, so that the heat won't get to it and break it. Oh, like no soup for you. No solder. All right, so again, we're going to fuse this. So we got to heat up the metal to its melting point. So let's do that. There we go. So now we'll let that go ahead and cool off. Set that over there, and then we'll move on to the next one while that cools. Please solder all 3. Oh wait, we got one in the cleaner. Let me go steam that off real quick, and then we'll do that one. Smell that one. All right. Ugh. Let's do this. Okay, so this one has a bit of work that needs to get done to it. We are... Whoo! So this had to get cut off someone's finger. We need to size the ring to a 7 and add the sizing beads to it, or as I like to call them, bishop bumps, which are just balls. We're literally just putting balls in a ring. Okay, so, oh yeah, remember earlier how dirty it was? Now take a look at it. Ooh, nice and clean. No more skin cheese. I mean, still dirty, but it's better than it was. No more skin cheese. What kind of ring is Ryan trying to make this into? It's a big shank. So I fused it on there, and then what I do is, this is just how I size rings up. I don't use all that. A prison ring. They need big shanks. Classic. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on my mandrel, and we're going up to a 7. Now, if you take a look at it, it's clearly not rounded, so I'm going to just tap that. There we go. Now what I'm going to do, they say from a 5. Oh, man. So, alright, here's what I'm going to do. There's actually a couple things we got to do. So if you look up top here, these rings actually are not even soldered together. See my fingernail behind it, in between those two rings? We got to get those soldered together up top there if we're going to size this up. Because what I want to do is I just want to take a big chunk of gold and literally just stick it in the middle here, and then I'll shape it so it looks like 2 rings. And that's what we're going to do. So we got to use our slaughter togethers, which is this fancy smanchy ring thing. And what this does is it pulls the rings together, mostly. So I'm just going to flow a little bit of solder up in there, up in there, up in there. First we're going to light it on fire so the boric acid coats the ring. Is my mic peaking? You know, earlier someone said my mic was too quiet. Now it's too loud. Here, hold on. Let's test this out. Here, hold on. Test. Test, 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 test. Is this better? How's this? I know it probably sounds a little, like, because I'm in the shop, but how's it? Is this better? I switched microphones. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take some solder. Again, because we're soldering rings together, might be when I get close. I guess I did have it on a different one. This one's okay? This one's okay? Okay. Cool. Okay, I am going to switch cameras though here. Boop. So, again, we're going to put solder right in between these 2 rings. So we're going to use easy solder just because I want it to flow nicely. And when you solder rings together, you use easy solder. In case you ever got to take them apart. Then we're going to put some flux. Put some flux up in there. And now here we go. Now, we got the little ball in there. I don't know how well this camera can pick it up. Can I change the zoom here and get it a little better focus? Nope, sure can't. I think that's as good a focus we get. It all kind of blends together, doesn't it? It all just blends together. Alright. But anyway, so I need those to be snug up, so I'm going to hold it with tweezers while I flow it. I'm going to have to turn it this way a little bit. Uh-oh. Solder fell. Okay. Okay. There we go, another nice and snug. Nice and snug. Alright, so now while we let that cool down, we'll come back to our sizing here. So again, here's how I size these kind of rings, alright? I wonder if I can like move this camera. Hold on. Let's see if I can get a good shot of. Whoa. Okay, so I put it on here, right? Been making jewelry for 200 some years. We're going up to what size? An 8, right? Right, an 8. Yep. Okay, so here's the mandrel, right? That's the 8. Now I want to go a little less than an 8, so we'll probably go 7.5. So right there. And now what I do is I bend this around my mandrel, like so. Now you can see how I've got a big like gap right here. So I'm just going to kind of tap that. I'm going to tap that down so it's nice and round. And then I'm going to take this. We're just going to grab it off like so. Alright? There's one that's a 7 and one that's an 8. Yeah, the other one's a 7. I don't know if you guys are talking to me or not. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut it like so. Put that back in there. And then we got to flatten both sides. I like to use my sandpaper disc. Let's go like this. And then I'm going to use my ring rounders. And what I'm doing is I'm just bringing this in so that there's some tension. You want there to be tension on this. Sorry, it doesn't autofocus. But you want there to be enough tension so that you got to actually try to pull it apart a little bit. But ultimately, you want it to be pushing in on each other, but not too much. If you do too much tension, then you'll end up with a ring that's way smaller than you actually wanted. And then you also want to make sure that the inside of the rings are flush when you do this. Compression and tension? What? Am I using the wrong word? Am I supposed to say you need a lot of compression? Is that what I'm supposed to be saying? Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and fuse this. Now again, I'm going to put my tweezers, because these are aquamarines. So I'm going to put my tweezers on the stone so that it acts as a heat sink. But yeah, tension is pulling, compression is, well, compressing. Okay, I'll remember that. So you got to compress it together. You got to make sure it's compressed, not depressed. All right, and again, what we're going to do is we're just going to heat up that joint. Hold on, I don't like the heat on that. Not hot enough? Hold on. There we go. We make sure it fused on the inside too. There we go. The Aquamarine survived! Yeah! I feel like that's confusing for jewelers because of tension settings. Yeah, that's a good point, Married is Fun. That's a good point. Hey, I hope your event was fun. That's a good point. Tension settings are actually compression settings. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now with this, you see how that's kind of jagged? We got to make that nice and flat. Got to make that nice and flat. There we go. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to cut off these spare bits. And then, again, we're going to use our sandpaper disc to flatten it. Now, they said they wanted a 7, right? Yes, size 7. Now, this is significantly more gold than only 2 sizes. Well, I also got to make sure it's nice and round, too. So what do you think happened to have the ring cut off the person's finger? Do you think they tried to force the wrong ring size on the finger, got stuck? Or... so because they want me to put beads in there, I think that what happened is they have arthritis. And so they couldn't get it back over their knuckle, so they had to get it cut off. And they cut it off in the worst spot ever. Like, all the way up here on the side. Like, I would have rather them cut it off down here. Like, right down here. Because it's easier to fix down there. Because if you look here, look at this. You see how, like, uneven this gold is here? Because it's, like, really tall on this side, and then it gets smaller on that side. So it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt to blend that and make it look good. Different words that mean the same thing. Brilliant. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and put a piece of stock in kind of sideways. I don't know why they cut it there. So I think this is more like 3 sizes. Let's see. Probably like 2.5 sizes. Oh, perfect. Nope, that's the wrong ticket. There we go. Alright, so let's find some stock that's wide enough. Like I said, I'd like to put in just one piece. And then we just kind of put it in at an angle. I think everything I've got in my box here is too thin. That's going to be a little thick. There we go. That's not bad. Okay. So, again, we'll use this piece, and we'll just kind of put it in here at an angle. Instead of normally you put it in flat, but instead we'll put it in kind of like this. So then we can shape it, and then we have less waste. So, we're going to go ahead and do that. First things first, we got to bend this out a little bit, like so. And then, let's see if I can move this camera back into position so we can get a nice side view on this thing. What's up, Jezebel? I know, just a centimeter lower, where there's less contouring, exactly. Yeah, I suppose you are. That makes sense. Do you remember the gum ouch from the 90s that came in a tin and was supposed to represent Band-Aids? I think I do remember that. Wasn't it like a bunch of different colors? Wasn't that like the fruity gum? Sorry guys, I'm trying to get you a better view here. There we go. I think that'll be a good view. Yeah? Alright, cool. So again, we're gonna start this thing on fire. So what this does is this is boric acid and alcohol, and it coats the ring in boric acid, which helps it from oxidizing. That's zebra. You're getting confused. Hi, Akira. Thanks for joining. All right. Alright, I gotta make this nice and flat. There we go. Now we need some hard solder. We are gonna use solder for this, because you can't really fuse this. It would just be a... oh man, it would be a mess. Lurking and napping. Alright, so here's our solder. Guys, we'll grab a little more just in case. All right, so we're gonna use our gold to pick up our solder once we heat it up here. Whoa, Astro, Canuck, and Raiders! What's up, everyone? How are we doing tonight? Thanks for joining. What were you working on tonight, Astro? Yeah, what's up, this guy? What's up? Fucked. What's up, Where Ducky? Thanks so much for the follow, Bright Jess. Welcome to the rough crowd. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much, D-Gag. Welcome to the rough crowd. Thanks for the follow. Built a little metal Hubble Space Telescope. That's awesome, dude. Wow. What we're doing here is we are, so this ring had to get cut off someone's finger. And we are, do you normally cut yourself a lot? So this ring had to get cut off someone's finger, and now they need it sized up, and then we need to put some balls in it. So that's what we're doing right now. Sorry guys, my hand might be in the way of this. I don't know. Might have to like move you over here. Also, it was cut at such a kind of an awkward angle that I got to put the actual gold on here at an awkward angle. Why did they cut off the side, not the bottom? Well, I'm guessing they had arthritis because I have to put beads in there. Oh yeah, we also got to put our flux on here. Flux helps solder flow. Glad to be able to raid you. Always been sharing kind words. Oh, thank you so much, Astro. That means a lot, man. So when I'm down here, you guys can't even see me actually focusing. We gotta fix that. That means a lot. Guys, go toss Astro a follow. Alright, so we're putting this on at an angle. Now I'm just trying to get the solder to flow. There we go. Looks like it flowed. I mean, obviously it's holding this whole piece up. So, so yes, it did flow. We're good. We're good. Which sort of fume extractor? What do you mean? I guess I don't have a fume extractor. My fume extractor is literally like a ventilation system. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I just have a ventilation system above the bench that catches stuff. And then I hold my bench from, or hold my bench. I hold my breath when I'm working on anything, typically. Okay, so now we're going to fix this ring while we wait for this to cool off. So let me go ahead and switch cameras. Let's bring this on over here to the actual bench pin. Let me focus it in there for you. There we go. He has no ventilation. I do too have ventilation. Just huffing for giggles. Yep, that's me. Okay, so this ring that we are sizing up to a size 8. What's up, Where Ducky? Ryan, your fly's down. No, it's not. Get out of here. Got him! Alright, so we're sizing this up. Till solder is a more generic term. I don't know what till solder is either. Wow, I'm learning all kinds of stuff. Solder versus brazing versus fusing versus how funky jewelry terminology is. Okay, so we gotta size this ring up now. Let's do it. We gotta go to an 8, so I'm just gonna kind of tap this up here real quick. Now I do have to be careful because there are hollow parts on this ring. So I just gotta make sure that I don't actually tap those hollow parts because it is very difficult, if not near impossible, to get dents out of hollow rings. We're taking this up to a size 8. Oh no, it broke. See that? It broke. That's fine. We just got to fix that. It's a big hammer for a small ring. Well, it's kind of a big hammer. Look at that. It's like it's like it looks big until you see the handle. It's like it's a tiny hammer. All right, we're gonna jump back here. We're gonna set that down, and we're gonna fix this ring real quick. I'm just gonna use solder for the rest of this here. So what happened is I just stretched the metal a little too far while tapping it, and so it broke. Now this does have aquamarines in it, and aquamarines are heat-sensitive stones, and they will literally explode if they get too hot. So I'm putting my tweezers on the aquamarines to essentially act as a heat sink so that it doesn't, what do you call it, explode them. And now we're going to use solder instead of fusing. So I need my white hard solder. Have I not used any yet today? Nope, doesn't look like it. You have smaller hammers. I guess I do have a smaller hammer, right here. Yeah, look at that beast. Ooh, ooh, yeah. Almost as small as the ring. If we're gonna start comparing hammers, man. All right, so let me pull off the solder here. We'll just pull off the solder. We're going to put some flux on the seam where we're soldering. Grab our solder pick. Seeing that hammer in your hand, your brain decided instead your hand was giant. So the hammer being small. Thanks, Demon. I see it. Now I see why why you like Yar so much. Oh man. One time he got an ultra cheap emerald and blasted it. Hold on, my torch is a little too hot. This is Yar joke in there somewhere. But I bet you do. I bet you do. Okay, so also we gotta kinda heat away from the stone, so I'm gonna point my flame this way. Now solder likes to go where there's heat, so I just got to make sure it pulls through. All right, looks good. All right, so now we'll let that cool off. Now this, what we're going to do here is we are going up to a size 7. So I'm just going to kind of bend this so that we have, actually I'm going to anneal the stock. I'm going to anneal this gold here so that it bends easier, which means I essentially bring it up to almost its melting point. I make it bright red, or glowing red rather. And what that'll do is allow for the stock to want to bend easier instead of being so rigid. It just makes it easier to work with, easier to hammer. That's probably what I should have done on that aquamarine ring after I pounded it a bit. There we go. Now we'll just let it cool off. You have 30 now? Dude! Yo! Eridican wife? Eridican? Thanks, wife, for the 200. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you for your generosity. Eridican wife. Thank you. Are we going to have Jackbox nights again at any point? Yes, at some point we will. Sandy and I just need to get back into a routine because she's going back to work and stuff. So we got to figure that whole thing out. Yeah. Time to bring out the engineer words again. Improve the ductility. Yes, that's what we're doing. We are making ducks out of jewelry. Alright? Yeah. Sandy's also a goldsmith, actually. Alright, so now I'm just going to finish tapping this up. Yeah. Whoa! Eridican wife with the 5 gifted subs to Rackwack, Alistair Wood, Weather, Tum, and Booty Doctor. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for your generosity, dude. That means a lot. Thank you. Guys, make sure you thank Eridican wife for their generosity. Oh, man. Dude, thank you so much. Thank you. Somehow you didn't get a sub. Yeah, Akira, you always get the subs. Yeah. Alright, so let's just finish tapping this beast up. Is Booty Doctor in the chat? I mean, I would assume they are. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Booty Doctor is a person that I used to play Counter-Strike with a long while back. And they've just supported me ever since. So, yeah, that was great. Alright, so this is now at where it needs to be. So I'm going to set that aside. Is it still hot? Nope. Okay, I'm going to bend this around real quick because we're going to a 7. And then, oh yeah, by the way, guys, we don't just do jewelry repairs here. We also cut gemstones. Sorry, camera's gonna shake. I take raw gemstones and yeah, we cut them into beautiful finished pieces like the rendering you see down there. That's actually a Legend of Zelda rupee that we're cutting out of sapphire. Which actually on Friday, I'm hoping Friday we'll be able to finish the rupee for sure. Yo, this guy, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much, dude. Alright, so that is the chunk we're going to be putting in. Right there. So that's the bit that we're putting in. So now we just got to pull this in. We got to compress the ring together, the joints. And then we're going to solder that in, and then we'll shape it. Thanks for the lurk, Canuck! And thank you for the raid, dude. Have a great night. I understand. It's exhausting after a stream. Especially when you gotta clean up and all that stuff. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here comes my Minnesotan accent coming out here. Alright, so I'm just fitting this all together here. Just making sure that this is all lining up. There we go. And then what I like to do is I like to put the solder in between the joint, because I feel like when I do that, I get less pits, which means the solder boils, and there's and then there's like basically like, well, as it sounds, pits or holes in the actual joint, which makes it weak. And then also I feel like the solder tends to flow better. So again, we're going to start it on fire. I've already got the solder in between the joint right here, which is where we're actually going to be soldering. So we're going to add ourselves some flux to help the solder flow. And we're going to go at it. I got to turn this so I can see it. Again, got to make sure it flowed inside, which it did not. There we go. Now, this ring kind of pulled apart a little bit, so I'm going to... There's a thing that I learned from a jeweler a while back where you can kind of create this really neat... it's almost like solder, but it's more malleable and stronger. So what you do is you take some, you can take either hard solder or easy solder. So I'm going to take a little bit of hard solder. And then you take some of that material. So in this case, it's yellow gold, 14K. So I'm going to take a little bit of 14K yellow gold here. Like actual stock from a ring or whatever. And, so I've got the stock there, and I've got a little bit of solder here. Actually, I need a little bit more solder than that. It's not quite like 50-50. It's more like 50 and then a quarter. Or like, you want a quarter amount of solder to stock, basically. And what you do is you heat them both up, and you get them together. Now, when you do that, what'll happen is the solder will actually coat the gold, the gold stock. Now we need to mix them together so they become one. So we're going to heat it up quite a bit until you can actually see it flowing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it. So I'm just pushing on it, and then I just kind of roll my solder. You see how it kind of smushed that a little bit? Sorry, it's down in the corner of the screen. And then I'm going to heat that back up so it all fuses back together, and then whatever's on my solder pick, and now it's all one. You can see how it's kind of more sticky now. So now this is a little bit more than just solder. It's actually also stock. So I'm just going to take a little bit here and we're going to kind of fill in that area that kind of pulled apart on us. Sorry, I don't think my camera's going to pick this part up. And I also need to make sure that it stays together and doesn't pop apart. So I'm going to go like this. We're going to put some flux here. Turn up the heat of our torch a little bit. There we go. So now that just created a really solid joint where it would have been a rather weak joint if I just filled it in with solder. I made an alloy. Yes. Need that golden dough. Dude, I've been watching the Great British Baking Show because, okay, so I watch my kid all day, right? He's only 3 months old. So you got to have a show on that you don't care about. And I just turn on the Great British Baking Show because I've seen it all, right? Over and over and over and over. It's such a feel-good show, and it makes you hungry, and it's just delicious to watch. But yeah, need the dough. Have fun, Jan. Thanks for hanging out, man. Really appreciate it. Hope to see you on Friday. Alright, so I'm going to let that go ahead and cool off, and what we're going to do is we're going to finish cleaning up this ring, and then I think we're going to call it a night. Alright, so we sized this aquamarine ring. Now, obviously, we gotta fix this whole bottom part here and make it better. Or make it, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty! But we also got to be careful because inside the ring is hollow. See that? That's all hollow, and so there's walls on there, and I don't want to file those walls. So what I do is I put my fingers where the hollow part is. That way I don't file it. And now we're just going to file the side of the ring flat so it looks nice and even. You make the baby watch cooking shows all day. No wonder he eats great. Yeah, exactly. Dude, he's been grumpy lately. His teeth are coming in. And, ooh, has he been a little grumpus. Like, he had one happy day over the weekend. And everything else this week has just been grumpy. I know. You strain a muscle in your lower back, so you've been Dude, my lower back has been destroying me. So I've been like sitting on a heat pad and stuff, ooh, and lifting a freaking 16-pound baby, 16.5-pound baby all day does not help. Okay, so now that we got the sides all nice and flush and prettied up, now we got to do this side. You can see all my hammer marks on there, right? Minus the teeth part. Do you have some of those binkies where you can freeze it? We've tried the freezing things, and he doesn't really like them. We're doing mainly just a washcloth. We don't have a freezing binky, though. I guess I didn't think of that. I do have, like, we've got some of those other ones that you can, like, technically you're not supposed to freeze them. You're supposed to just put them in the fridge. Because they don't want them biting through it and getting whatever the goo is in there. But yeah, he's doing okay, and he doesn't like. He's a really good baby. He doesn't actually cry. He just like complains. He's just like, oh, oh. But he does that over and over and over. Yeah, he just kind of, like, light cries, I guess? I don't know. I don't know what you call that. He lightly cries? It's your life calling to be a prime grumpus with a healthy side of sarcasm. So, are you being sarcastic at being a grumpus? Or, how does that work? Whimpers. Yes, he just whimpers. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're just cleaning up the inside of the ring. This is just a sandpaper roll. Ow, hot, 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 hot. The sandpaper roll just makes the inside here. Actually, I can give you a close-up look of what it looks like here. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Let's see. There we go. So you see that? I'm cleaning that up right there next to the stamp. That little seam there, we gotta round that out. And if we come this way, you can actually see. Oh my God, this is hard. This is really hard, guys. Anyway, you basically saw it. The fruit binky was magic? For your nephew, they had these binkies that you can put frozen fruit, like mango and such in, and they can gum on it and soothe the teeth. Oh, interesting. Unfortunately, he can't have people food yet. Good, Jezebel. Then if I made you chuckle or smile at least once, my job is complete tonight. All right, now because we filed the side and the inside flat, we now have a really sharp edge. So we're just going to burnish that down with the rounded edge of our file here, and we're just going to use just the weight of the file, because if we burnish it too much, it makes the side of the ring look really thin, almost like an optical illusion. Now we're gonna rubber wheel it. This just gets out the deeper scratches. I like to do this because it makes polishing the ring a lot easier. Makes polishing the ring a lot smoother. Get it? You get it? Oh my God. And then, but we are going to polish the inside of the ring here at the bench. It's like a popsicle binky. We will have to try that once you can start having real food. I don't like getting my hands all dirty from the polish. The polish makes them feel all I don't know, greasy. Now they also said that the center stone is loose, so let's go ahead and check that. Oh yeah, look at that beast. Alright, let's see if we can tighten it. One of his favorites in his first birthday, his grandma bought one and he totally ignored his presents. Oh man. Still loose. Can you guys see that move? I don't think you can. I don't think it's close enough. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this really sharp bit and I'm putting it in the channel here. Let me see if I can zoom this in for you. No, that's not that's not good at all. Ryan, what are you doing? How's that? Okay. So I'm taking this real sharp thing that I made. Sorry, everything's so shiny because I got so many lights in here. And I'm just putting it on the side of the bezel, like this. Let's wait for my banner to go away. Jeez. Excuse me. How long do I have that set to stay up? Okay. So I put it in like this, and then I push and I pull along the edge of the bezel here. Like this. And what that does is it should put a... There we go, it's not loose at all. It should put like a flashing down over the stone, which should keep it from moving. Okay, never mind. Now this side's moving. Okay, and if that fails, which sometimes it does, then we use our graver and we literally just pull over a small bit of metal. Tight. 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 Let's check these. That one's loose. Still loose, huh? There we go. Now we have a nice finished ring that's the right size. The shank is nice and even on the bottom. It's not too thin, or it's basically it's symmetrical the whole way around. It's round, round, and so let's write down what we did, and then perfect. All right. On that note, guys, I think we're gonna call it a night. Should we go raid someone? It looks so nice from scraps to ring. Yes. Imagine what this yellow gold one will look like when I'm done with that. This one will look really nice. That's what it looks like right now. With the, gosh, this... Hold on, let me see if I can just, like... Nope. Can't really adjust that lighting. Ha! But yeah, so this is our current ring right here. I feel like... I don't know, whatever. Ah, it's circular, Ryan. Round is 3D. It is a 3D ring. It is literally a 3D ring. Alright, should we go and raid someone? Let's do it. By the way, guys, if you enjoyed yourself tonight, consider pressing that follow button. Let me jump onto my... I'm not even on my Twitch. Okay. How do I spell Twitch? Oh my god. You might hear me. Mute. Settings. Alright, let's go raid someone. Who are we gonna raid here? Raid channel. Oh, we haven't raided Leanne in a long time. Let's go raid Leanne. It looks like she's doing... Oh yeah, she does the glass stuff. So Leanne is really cool because she does, she makes pictures from glass. So she's a lot of fun. She's a lot of fun. Again, guys, thank you so much, everyone, for the support and for hanging out. Really appreciate it. And everyone that's raided and stuck around after the raid, thank you so much. If you enjoyed yourself, consider pressing that follow button. I should be back on Friday, and Friday we will be cutting gemstones, not working on jewelry. It's a little... Cutting gemstones are a completely different beast. So if you want to see what it's like to cut a gemstone, do that. Also, my work is available on my website, Ryan56k.com, and also join our Discord. Very friendly community. Other than that, guys, be peaceful to one another. Try to use less plastic. Save the earth. Thank you so much again for for your support. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. Other than that, have a good night. Okay, bye.